Yeah.
Oh, good morning, everybody. We got the recordings going. Let's okay it here. One of our computers is acting silly, so if you're online chatting, we're gonna have to keep an eye out on it down here. First thing though, you gotta know who you're sitting next to. So you got 1 minute to meet somebody new. Look around, go, visit. If you can hear me, clap your hand. If you can't hear me, clap twice. Okay. Just a reminder, if you see the green lights on up here, everything you're saying, these are highly sensitive mics. That gets heard more than anything else going up here. So just always help us be careful of that. So every week we start with our M, V, 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 or P. This week it is our V.
Yep, and it's our God, family, and then business values.
And that's the main thing, is keeping in that order. If you do it right, then the business comes. But if you try to do it in the reverse order, nothing works right. Onward, we have Katya here.
Hello, I'm Katya with Onward. We have a few weeks left of the summer promos, so if you're looking for those deals, talk to me or email me at marketing@onwardagentservices.com.
And we have lots of affiliates and vendors in here. Look at this page. We got to go to page 2 pretty soon. Let's see who we got here. Give us a quick.
Let's start with
who you are and what you do.
There, Kevin Kohler with Allstate. Bananas to be here. Lauren Chu glad to be here as well.
Oh, we got some competition going.
Our lovely ladies from GAP.
Hi, I'm Cindy. This is Christy with Great American Title. And if you're looking for a great closing experience and just a lot of fun, GAP's got you. Thank you.
Derek, the new girl dad.
That's right. Derek Channing, expert from Mid-Missouri Bank. Yeah, Rachel already spoiled the news, but been out in the office the past couple of weeks. Just joined the new baby girl, but back in the office as of last week and ready to get back at it.
Awesome. Carl.
Carl McDougall, Doc's on Home Inspection, all your home inspection needs, home inspection, termite, mold, septic, sewer, all that good stuff. So if you need me, give me a call. We're more happy to help you out. Thank you.
And Jess.
She mixed it up, Kim, way up on the front.
I know, right? I just said with the ladies. Jess Bowman Insurance Group. We're a local independent broker. We've worked with Keller Williams for over 10 years and we just appreciate you guys and anything we can do to help on the insurance side of your deals, just reach out to us. Awesome.
And each week our affiliates and vendors have a culture where they give to each other. But Christina's not here today.
Oh, she's gatekeeping it for another week.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get on her for that. Okay, so last week's winner for our culture award within KW agents and admins and staffs and people was Lee Skiles. And who did he nominate for this week?
I'm gonna cry on this.
I know.
Okay, so about a year ago, we had an agent that was diagnosed with a brain tumor. During the surgery, she suffered a stroke. This person suffered adversity that would have caused most to quit, but she didn't. She persevered. Ron Steffes was a Marine, and in that spirit, and in that same spirit, she didn't quit. Congratulations, Liliana.
Also, Lee pointed out that our statue, which we still haven't found,
Yeah, someone had it.
is actually an Army person and we need a Marine. So if this one doesn't show up, we need to do one with a Marine.
Yeah, like, Stan, that could be.
Okay. All right, now.
was a Marine.
Yeah. That's right. You won't let us forget it. So 1 day in on the new contracts and everything,
Come on, Jim Bowen.
As Jim comes up, I want to thank you all because I saw some silly comments in the GSBR page yesterday. People, well, my brokerage did this, or my brokerage did this, and when somebody asked for a question, you all just said, happy to help. Here's the form. You all came from contribution, you helped people. It was amazing. So I want to give you a round of applause for taking the high road on that stuff.
Jim changed up his,
Yeah, Keller Williams.
I said Spider-Man.
Now he's gonna get you.
Yeah.
We had some dumb questions though. People asking me stuff like, can you put the commission in the agent remarks?
No, the answer is no.
I said, call Rachel. But there wasn't really anything as challenging as I thought it'd be. The biggest challenge for all of us, I think, was they didn't get the forms out. And so we were waiting for the compensation writer all day long, and I think I saw Nicole here late.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Nicole, because even when I went by her house last night at 8 o'clock, she was still working on getting all the forms loaded, so.
You know,
it's not-
that's the biggest part of it. Just make sure you use the right forms. And as an example, I actually had to write an offer on Monday, that was yesterday. And I used the original contract because, you know, it was okay. So, but, I wouldn't do that going forward. I would try to use the right documents if you can. And, you'll have some challenges. There's no doubt about that. But what we're supposed to do for Don and I for the next few weeks is answer questions. So who has questions?
Mark,
So I took a phone call yesterday on a listing. I've got scheduled a showing for today at 12:30. I completely forgot that I just can't go show the house and
Yes,
not
you
do
can.
anything.
Your listing.
is it your
It's
listing?
my listing.
Yeah, you can show it.
You can
You don't
show
need a
it.
buyer's agency to show your own
You're
listing.
working for the seller though, so any sort of conversation you have with a potential buyer, you have to be aware that you're working for the seller.
Okay.
And then if they want to see other properties, then you're gonna have to enter into the buyer's agency agreement. So you should have one physically with you, or you're on your iPooter or whatever you got there.
So it would actually be a really good idea if if there's a listing that somebody wants to see, it's not our listing. We talk to someone that wants to see it, we send them, like, have them on the ready and saying, hey, I'm gonna send you this form. This allows me to show you this property.
Or you have a buyer's agency consultation and provide them with a Missouri broker disclosure form and the agency agreement, and you consult through that, and then you talk about what they actually need, and then you physically sign it. You could do that too. Or you just send it to them and say, I have to have this before I can show you property, which would not
Okay.
be the best practice, actually.
Yeah, but it might not be bad to have a couple hard copies in the vehicle with you for a
Sure.
while.
I would have
Like the good old days.
Yeah.
We used to have our listing kit and our buyer's kit, we had them all in our trunk.
And if you're gonna go show a listing, Mark, that's not yours, then you might wanna send the cooperation agreement to the other listing agent as well, so you understand the compensation beforehand. Cause there's two different compensation forms. One is you're gonna go show a house and you're already calling the agent to ask. The other one's the writer you're attaching to your offer.
Yeah, the compensation rider should be attached to every contract. I'd really suggest that. It's not a requirement. We're not gonna make you do anything, you know that. But it would be a good idea to just attach it to every
If you
one.
wanna get paid.
Yeah, only if you want to get paid.
And there's no guarantee you'll get paid with the new rules, because they could counter and say, we accept your all terms and conditions of your offer, but we're not paying compensation. If that's the case, then you have to have a conversation with your buyer and or give them to somebody else that doesn't care about getting paid.
That's when it comes into play that you really need to have the strategy session ahead of time, letting them know, hey, these folks aren't paying a commission. You tell me if you wanna see it or not.
Right. My conversation with my buyer yesterday when we were finishing up the contract was, look, I have to have this buyer's agency agreement now. It's by law, it's by statute. And they said, no problem, sign it up. And I said, I'm asking the seller for the compensation that I've got written into my contract here, without giving any numbers. And, but I told him straight up, if they don't pay it, I'm not gonna ask you for it. Yeah, and I won't, but that's just me. Now, the rest of you, I mean, I'm independently wealthy, what the hell? You know? Just kidding, but, you know, I had, this one had already been on the MLS, the compensation was already offered, I knew what it was. But going forward, I won't have a clue without making the phone call or the cooperation agreement.
Who else had a question?
So one question from last week was, if you have searches going for somebody, do you need to have an agreement signed, you know, to do that? This is what we found in Facts.Realtor. A written buyer agreement is required prior to a buyer touring a home. An MLS participant, that's an agent, working with a buyer can enter into the written buyer agreement at any point, but must do so by no later than prior to the touring of the home. So in other words, if you've got a search going for somebody, the way I read this, you're good to keep sending it until you tour a home. Okay, so that's,
And did
That
we
was-
find clarification on virtual tours of the videos?
I read something that you have to have a written agreement.
Well,
I said it last week.
no, the thing we were considering though is if you have a YouTube channel and you're broadcasting a video of a home.
see, I don't think according to this, and what's funny, this came out during our meeting last week. But it sounds like if you're just doing like for your own promotion, you're not working with a buyer.
But if you directly send that video to somebody, then you are working with a buyer. So there is a distinction with
Yeah.
that.
Another thing, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what other questions? Because I want to make sure we get them answered. Yes, Ann?
I just want to clarify on that. This is a change from last week where we talked about we have to have the agreement before we even identify properties. Now
No.
you're saying this is different. It's the touring of the home is.
Never
the-
said that.
Yes,
It was
we
never, it's
did.
never been said. Take it away. We got recordings. Point is, no, you don't have to.
Okay, great.
If you're just sending properties to people, that's fine.
Okay, great. I just wanted.
So the sooner you can get that, and I would do it for a year. You know, here's my buyer's agent tip sometimes. You know, if it's somebody who's meeting you on the fly like Mark's, maybe you do it for a day, but
Depends on the client, yeah.
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 Who else has a question? Want to make sure we get through that today.
Here's another bit of info Jim found for us on VA status. This is the snippet from your email you found.
You can go ahead.
Okay, this was from a loan officer that sent this to Jim. The VA will allow the buyer to pay real estate commissions on contracts dated on or after August 9th. When the buyer is paying the commissions for a VA loan, we need to have a copy of the agent representation agreement. So get that ahead of time. For contracts dated prior to August 9th, the veteran will not be allowed to pay a real estate commission. So,
They can. But we know in most cases, obviously, they choose not to. We had an agent last week who they had a consultation with the buyer's agency agreement. And the buyer said, this is ridiculous to send AR stuff. He said, you know, and they just marked through the fee and said, you know, you're not helping the buyers by doing this. You know, all he could say is he agreed, you know, but there's nothing he could do about it. I think we're gonna have difficulty getting buyers to pay fees. Maybe one way you do it is you reduce your offer, right? And then they've got more money to do it. But again, we deal with so many people that are putting down 3.5% and 5% or 100% on VA, MHDC, government loans, USDA. They don't have any extra cash. They've already got enough cash to move, you know? So it's really not, it wasn't a blessing from the government, but that's okay. You know, we'll deal with it, we'll get past it, but I think you're gonna have difficulty collecting from your buyers. That'd be my opinion only. You might have buyers that are just, oh, yeah.
I turned the listing down yesterday because the seller wanted to offer 1% to the buyer, 1% to the listing agent too. And I'm thinking, I've got more value than to work for 1%. I said, you might find somebody that's gonna do 1%, but you're gonna get 1% service in return for it.
You know, and an example of that too, we're gonna talk to Randy later. I mean, how is he so successful? I mean, his stuff isn't cheap, never has been. But he offered something of value that people were willing to pay to compensate him for. It's the same thing, you have to determine what your value is. And I think we carry a lot of value. I mean, you know, I was out yesterday searching for fence installers and I mean, just all kinds of things for my client because they have jobs. I don't have one. Also, in honor of Randy. I bought those on Chestnut Expressway in 1986.
Oh, Annabelle, Annabelle.
1980.
And they didn't fit. I don't remember who the salesperson was. He said, don't worry, they'll stretch out by the time you got home. And if you look at the top of this, when there's a dark spot, that's where the blood came through. By the hell of a salesman.
And so as Jim is talking about value, and if you have questions on what is the value proposition, what should I include in my value proposition, I encourage you to go to KW Connect. and look at value squared. That's a class we've taught a couple of times here that was broadcasted. They have a 100-page document of examples of what value means and what you can add or how you can convey your value. So I would really reuse that as a resource guide if you're worried about what is my value and how I can convey it. One of the things is start from the very beginning of a transaction all the way to close. What is everything that you do for your clients? And sometimes it's hard to, or it's easy to forget all the things that you do, like you're finding a fence installer, or you're looking for this recommendation or this recommendation. You're helping them with the paperwork side, communicating with all these other parties.
Yeah.
That is a value proposition that most sellers and buyers don't understand that you do that. It's just natural to you because you do that every single day. So really breaking that down and having maybe a piece of paper for collateral material, say, this is what I provide to you throughout a transaction will help some visual people see that.
Also, this is not ready for publication yet. This is a flyer we'll have all around, but the one on the left is the list of homes that our agents have put in showing the commission amount. The one on the right is how to enter one. So obviously we'll get it with the labels on there and everything, but this will be coming, it'll be all around the building. That way you all can get to our own listings and say, okay, this is what's being offered.
And as a reminder, this is a brokerage only document. This cannot be shared with anybody else. So if you are going through and you're saying, I'm having a listing and I want to share what the compensation agreement is with a fellow agents in the office, you can go and reference all of the listings. If you want to enter your own, then you'll fill out this form for all this, but this is only Keller Williams Springfield listings. Doesn't include KW Branson or Joplin or any of that. It's just Keller Williams Greater Springfield. Yes, Amy?
Oh, that's what I wanted clarification on. So we enter it. You guys aren't pulling it from.
No.
Correct. You have to enter it. We'll go through and we'll update it and we'll color code. Maybe if it's pending and if it's closed, we'll remove it off the sheet kind of thing. But we're trying, this is for you all and we're trying to help, but that's a lot of manpower to go and do that.
And I saw like 7 or 8 listings in this site already. So it's already being used.
Yep.
But we'll get it to where you know which one is which. But it's, and some people have chosen not to put them in. They would rather have the phone call.
Yeah,
It's
your
your
choice.
choice.
Just trying to create a tool to help communication.
Okay, continuing ed.
Yes, so September 30th is the last day for salespersons to have a license if you've not continued or finished your continuing education. So it is a 2-step process. One, you have to complete the 12 hours. Those 12 hours, it's Code of Ethics and Fair Housing. The other 2 classes can be whatever you would like. After you completed those, give it about 48 hours for it to update on the commission website. Then you'll go on and you'll pay your renewal fee. And that will come to you either via email. And the email is the personal email you put on your application whenever you applied, however long ago that was, or it will come to your home address too. So if you haven't got your PIN code, let us know and we can help you figure out
Yeah,
how to get it.
and on the chat, not that you all can see it in here, Nicole put where to find the PIN code. If you haven't got it, you can go to the government website and they'll send it to you.
Yeah,
So,
but it is a 2-step process. Yes, Jim?
One more thing, I just got an email from Leah Inglesby at the board. She said a broker may at their discretion add offers of buyer's agent commission to their website, but only for their own listings. So if you have a website, who has a website? Everybody at KW.
Everyone at Keller Williams has your own website. And if you want to know about the advanced website, give it to Nicole because they've actually changed.
Yeah, so you can add compensation on there if you want to, but only on your listings.
okay, stats for the week. I'm seeing new listings and available listings go up. So this is compared to last week. You can see that it jumped up a little bit there. But what's more interesting, look at it compared to last year. The only number that's going down is the number of homes selling in 1 day or less.
And last year, for those in the back, it was 47.
47 as opposed to 33 this year. So listings, everything else, there's more available, but they're staying longer. So here's, don't call anybody you're not supposed to, don't get sued. And there it is. So the number we're up to as of yesterday was 1,942 active listings in GSBOR.
Wow.
Yeah, it jumped 60, something like that. At one point on Sunday, it was at 1974. So a lot of them did sell, but the last time we were over 2,000 was before COVID. And we're getting darn close to it.
And yesterday, Mike was looking at the stats and our absorption rate, we're at a 4-month. A balanced market is 6 months. And recently in the last couple of years, we've been along that 2-3 month line. And so we're really about to go into a balanced market that if it continues to grow, we will now go into a buyer's market. So these are the conversations, these are the statistics that you should be sharing with your sellers and your buyers. If you do not receive the broker metrics Landon sends out every month, send Landon an email. Those are phenomenal reports to put in your listing presentation and your buyer presentation.
But the best thing, how many of you were at Real Estate Revolution? Several of you were. You remember when Les Litton said his team is pouring more into education than anything else this year? This is the ideal opportunity for you to get into bold. Bold will help you, and First Steps is next week. First Steps is free and you can get a free lunch with it. It's 9 to 2:30 over at Relics Event Center. If you go through that, the stat says 90% of people that do it will have one piece of business or one transaction by September. The people who go through whole bold have 13 more within the next 3 months, 4 months. So as the market's getting tighter, you've got to dig in and do some of these things. So on your desk or on your chair or the chair next to you, there is a thing to sign up for free bold First Steps next week. This is to learn and see if you actually want to do the whole thing. So this is a no obligation thing, but we would love to have as many of you there. Worst case, you get one piece of business for September and you get a free lunch.
I like free lunch.
So fill these out and you see on the bottom box, it says there's some scholarship opportunities available. Get these to any of us on leadership because we would love to have you there next Tuesday. Next Tuesday's team meeting is bumped to Wednesday. So your Tuesday is free, but this will help you with this changing market we're going into.
Yep, for sure.
Something else I was gonna say on that. Oh, here's the crazy thing though. Market seems to be slowing down around the whole area. But look at our profit share compared to last year for Keller Williams, meaning Keller Williams local Springfield. We're up $34,000 on profit share compared to last year. You know why? Our agents that are plugging into things like Bold, the trainings, all that, they're taking market share right now. And so this is going up and we want you to be part of this. We want you to get involved and the only way to start getting your business to grow is get producing or involved in stuff. And when you get involved, you start producing also.
And when I think about market share, I think about when James Shaw came on Zoom and was talking to us about what does market share mean in a shifting market. And he said, your goal this year shouldn't be to double your business or potentially increase your business. Your goal this year should be doing as much transactions as you did the year before. If you are able to produce the same amount of transactions this year that you did last year, you are taking market share. And at times it may seem a little defeating of like, man, why am I not growing? But like Mike was talking about, the business is changing. Deals are fewer than what we have seen. And so in that, if your goal can be staying on pace of what you did last year, you are silently taking market share. And here next year or the year after, you're going to start to really see it. So for those of you that are maybe in this like funk of like, how is this going? I'm maybe not hitting my goal and maybe your goal was double what you did last year and you're on track of what you did last year or this last year. That's okay. That's great. You're taking market share. And so just as a reminder of that is like, that's what we use to gauge. And James will actually be here in person in October. So we're very excited for him to be here to talk about that again.
One thing I always told all my clients is the winner in a negotiation is the person with the most information and time on their side. And that's true as an agent too. You got to get the information so you know what's coming up. And by getting involved in these things, it'll help. All right, jumping to something else. Nicole, what do you have from the tech world?
Yes, good morning. Okay, so just like Rachel had mentioned, we do have new agent sites. They have made them a little bit easier for you to use. So it doesn't go into, it's more of an expert mode on one side, but then an easier way for you to do it. The biggest thing though, is if you have not upgraded your site yet, which this came out last August, if you do not upgrade it by August 15th, it will automatically upgrade. Not a big deal if you don't have anything extra, but you will be getting an email from me if you have not already upgraded. And if you want to meet with me, we can do a quick 30 minutes and get your site upgraded and everything how you want it.
What we learned when Donnie and David from KWRI were here last week about the new agent sites is you can create a landing page for each of your open houses and you can have a sign-in page for every open house. So if you're using an iPad, there's a digital way that they can fill out the form and they click a button authorizing you to communicate with them. So it's taking that legal piece out of it. And so if you are curious about what the agent sites can do now, definitely schedule a time with Nicole.
Yep. Anything else, Nicole? Thank you again for what you did last night to get all those forms ready. That was just freaking amazing. So, all right, we're almost out of July.
I know.
Summer's almost over.
I know.
My wife banned me from saying that. She said, we're not giving up on summer yet. So we've got team meeting today. We've got I-44 road routes tomorrow. I'll come see you all out on I-44. Highway 60 is Thursday, which is August. That's hard to believe.
Yep, and our new training calendar should be out today or tomorrow for y'all. Well, it should be.
So what comes after summer? Fall. And we have a party in fall.
We do. Maria, do you want to talk about Hispanic heritage?
Yes. Do I have to go over there?
Yes,
No.
please.
Yes.
Cameras up here.
No, yes.
Yes, no. Yes.
Yes.
Yay. Okay, well, it's our
So exciting. It's our third Hispanic Heritage Month party, and we have some amazing vendors that are gonna be a part of the event. We're gonna have a petting zoo, and some other fun activities included. And our ask for you guys is to, if you know of anyone that wants to sponsor the event, we would greatly appreciate it. We are partnering with Hand in Hand Multicultural Center. They offer immigration services to people as well as, people that are suffering from domestic violence as well, and they're gonna use some of their funds to help the programs that they have. We're also looking for giveaways, so if you know anyone that wants to donate piñatas, candy, or any gift cards or anything like that, just reach out to Rachel, Noah, Liliana, Michelle Omar, or any of us, and we can take it from you guys.
And this event is open to the entire community. So if you have clients that you would like to piggyback off of this and invite them, please do. And we're creating a vendor passport. So every attendee that wants to be entered in a giveaway has to go and say hi to every vendor, which who wouldn't want to because of all the food, right? That's my favorite part.
And tequila.
Okay, my kids. Every week, tacos and tequila.
We are looking for a tequila sponsor and a tequila vendor, so just let me know.
And if you haven't been to an event, I would highly encourage you to come to Hispanic Heritage. Maria is a phenomenal MC.
Oh my gosh.
And halfway through the night, I caught myself talking to Maria and like having like a Hispanic slang to it. And so instead of saying like Maria, I was like, Maria. And I was like,
So Maria came in during COVID and she, I think she was tinier, I'm not sure. And she had this young look, I'm like, is she 13? You know, and she just has this childlike look to her. And then she took the stage. I'm like, oh my gosh. And she has this cape on, so you expect her to just go flying. over the
Got her
building.
flag, yeah, her flag,
It's
yeah.
like a cape, so.
So good. Dancing shoes. too.
That's right.
she's wearing her boots.
She did have her boots on for dancing. Okay, one last thing before we get to our guest speaker today. Mega Camp is coming up, and as of right now, in the entire country, we are the third top in people going to it. This is pretty cool. We always show up big. We had 75 in family reunion last year. So it is not too late to get into Mega Camp.
And they just released, so if you're gonna go to Mega Camp, I would highly recommend doing the CEO Summit, which is the add-on the day before, and they have phenomenal guest speakers. And of course, you didn't tell me who it was. So they've added 2 more speakers to the lineup. So among these phenomenal speakers will also be Phil Jones, which is the author of Exactly What to Say, and Rory Baden.
The guy I can remember.
Yeah, so Rory Baden was there last year, all about personal branding. And so what my favorite part about CEO Summit is it's not about real estate, it's about life. So there'll be a nutritionist in there. There's normally some sort of like, they do like an author and then they personal branding. So a lot of great things.
Yeah, and we still have 4 guest tickets available. So if you know of somebody from another brokerage that wants to go, it is not a recruiting thing. I mean, yes, it's all sponsored by KW. If they have questions about it, great, but we're not there like, hey, here's some Kool-Aid. You want to join us? It's not like that. We want them to learn from this stuff too. If you find somebody that can go, this qualifying agent, you get a free ticket to Mega Camp. Okay? Here's the requirements. Like I said, it's not a recruiting event. There's 4 of these left. They have to have 8 transactions or 3 million in sales in the last 12 months. We can look that up for you. When they say yes, get us in touch with them. We take it from there. We have a gift bag. I delivered them all around the county, 3 counties the other day, delivering those. So we make them feel like a guest and feel welcome. And so it's just a great way. Remember my story about the diamonds the other day? Every one of us has a field full of diamonds, but at some point you got to buy a shovel so you can go get to them. Okay? You got to invest in yourself and your business. I would say do bold and mega. If you can only do one, choose which one seems to fit you best, but you got to invest in yourself sometime to get what's underneath. So. All right.
I share an office with this guy all the time.
There's no flying shovels in there.
There's a
Okay.
screaming goat.
So as part of our team leaders or our team meeting series for this quarter, we have a couple of local guests, celebrities, people to learn from. So today we're going to welcome Randy Little. Come on up. That should be good. So,
well, I gotta put my stuff over here someplace.
oh, do we want this in front of us? Will that be better?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. I'll see us over. So it comes back. So I prepared some questions for Randy, but I've known him for quite a while, actually 1992.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I think he's just gonna ignore my question and go with what he wants to go with and tell us how he brands and what he does things. Does that sound good?
You know, it is. It's, I'm sitting there last night I prepared for about 2 minutes. You know, I began thinking, I said, this is not a class, it's a different atmosphere.
Cool.
And I'm sitting here watching, looking at everybody here, how interested they are, how you got them motivated. So I'm gonna kind of change mine up a little bit.
Absolutely, but first we need to share some pictures.
Okay?
Okay?
Are you ready? Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Okay. Tell us what that is.
Oh, that was a store that we bought. AAA Feed Company, was right next to when we started PFI.
Uh-huh.
We went over, actually, as part of it, start to there, they had $86,000 worth of inventory in this store. And we knocked out a wall after we had to go buy the $86,000 of inventory. I didn't have any money. So I had to find a good banker that loaned me $86,000. And we went in and bought this building right next to PFI. And we knocked out the wall, and that's how we became into the Western wear business.
You were a young guy back then.
I was 22.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Yes, I was. I was 22 when we started PFI. We'll get to that part in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
And that was one of the other things from way back before it switched over.
Yeah, it was. It's AAA Western Store. And Dale Works had that at one time. Charlie Chappell, some of you guys may have known that, was actually the owner at the time that I bought it. And I was a young guy at 22 years old.
And the article on the left is where he bought it.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's a small, there was 5 of us. We didn't have any money. Obviously, we put in $1,000 each. And that's what began at the very beginning of PFI.
And they did everything they could to get it started. Like, what on earth is this?
Oh, you're doing my show for me. I mean, no, this is dog dip days. There I am. And we have lines of people, of dogs around the building. Mean gang dogs. But once that dog hit the water, he was your best friend. He wanted to get out. Then he'll bite you. But, today you can't do this. It was a stock tank. And we probably did 300 to 400 or 500 dogs. I mean, it's wrapped around all day long, and you had this stuff on you. You had to keep a hose in your pants because it was starting to burn. It was just that you can't, it's illegal to do it today, but we did. Yeah. Dog dip days, and that's Steve Birch, who actually still the manager at the Cabinet Store today.
And those of us that are
And he
older-
was probably started at the store 12 years old.
Really?
Yep. And I was only 22 at that time, 23.
So those of us that are older knew it as where College Scenic and Chestnut meet.
Yeah.
And that ran on every radio and TV ad, but then you moved.
Yes, we did. Yeah, that was a big move in 1993. 92, we bought the land by the square foot. I really didn't know at the time that this 44,000, you bought it by the square foot. Then we built the building. And I didn't want this building to be a typical Western store. I didn't know if we were going to be successful or not. I imported the tile, and we built this building, a very strong building. And I thought, well, at the time, it could be a courthouse, it could be a restaurant, it could be anything, but we wanted to make a strong statement. Actually, that was designed from an old train station that was downtown a long time ago.
Really?
Yeah. And my wife actually designed that, or helped a big part of putting design in it. And that's the 1993 it started.
Yeah.
I guess that's part of the deal, was going back to say that when we built this, nothing was out there. It was a vineyard. You couldn't walk barely to the building. And I said, okay, I want to be out here by myself. And we did. Bought the land. We built the building, and obviously we had to buy a boatload of inventory. So you heard the phrase all the time, upside down. I was so many times upside down, I could have coined it. I mean, why am I doing this? But we were so vested, and we as a team of great employees, associates, and we made it happen. And that was cool.
I thought you'd love some of those before we got started.
Yeah, I've kind of changed a little bit.
Just a little bit. So.
Yeah, 47 years. I'll back up just a hair. I got out of University of Missouri, went to University of Missouri from a little bitty town called Clever, south here by Republic. Got a degree in economics, but in between my years, junior and senior year, I was hired as a marketing manager for a large dairy cooperative that's now basically gone. It was called AMPI. They had 20 to 25,000 employees. I was their marketing whiz, so supposedly I was number 8 on their organization chart of 20,000 people. They flew me around everywhere. Now, this is really, you young people have no idea, little history lesson. Nixon was president, Connally was governor of Texas, and all anything I did was shuffle money from San Antonio, Texas, on a Braniff airline to Washington, DC, called the milk deal. Perfect job. We could only, they taught me how to cheat on my daily food allowance. And I ate better there than I ever ate in my life in one meal. But they told you how to turn this many dollars in. It was fun. You could only, in home office, we was only allowed to fly first class on Braniff Airline. Now, one time I was in Minneapolis and I couldn't get home and I took coach and I got called in the carpet. And I said, okay, I learned from that. Now I'm just a young kid trying to figure out this corporate structure. That was fine until the FBI came in and they arrested the general manager whose office was right next to mine. My office was bigger than my apartment. It was huge. They took him away. Now at this time, I might have been 21-ish. Kind of remember back when. And arrogant, cocky, aggressive, all the above. And I said, hell with it, I want to start my own business. So that's kind of what took it off. We came back, I looked for some companies. We came really close in buying one. It was the interest rate on $5,000 what stopped the deal. I'm glad that it did. And we still joke about that occasionally. And we went over and started PFI, which PFI stands for Preferred Farmers Incorporated. Long about nothing. It was about selling to farmers that could pay their feed bill. I knew a little bit about the agriculture side. And then we did promotions after promotions after promotions. And then we finally got into the Western wear. I forgot to tell you, I never owned a pair of boots. I had no idea. I never knew anything about size scales. I never knew anything about sales, margins, turns, any of that stuff. But now we're in it. We had fun and we kept growing it. And I ran into a great lady. Her name was Jerry Clark. She was, Russell Clark was a federal judge. On the opposite side of where I am politically, but back then you didn't give a care because she was all as one. And we were doing starting TV and we did our first TV shot and we had about 30 seconds left or about probably 3 seconds left out of the 30-second ad. And she said, I want you to say, and I'm not kidding. Now I'm thinking in my back of my mind, I'm trusting this lady. In the back of my mind, I'm even going to get creamed to death by every customer. Got to remember, I was 10, 20 years younger than any of my customers. So I did, and they embraced it. And Jerry said, never let it go. There's another guy named Fred Schweitzer, KY3. He really took a charming to the Western side of being able to help market. And I went to him one time, I said, I'm getting tired of this. He said, you're not an audience. When you're getting tired of it, the audience is just now hearing it. Never change it. It's been the best tagline in the world. Fortunately, I convinced the new buyers that I did not have to sell the tagline. I had to sell the brand and the naming rights and everything else, but I got to keep the tagline. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it's fun. Yeah. And as we said, we were on the 4th side of town. There were 10 Western stores at the time. And I first knew by my little experience in marketing with AMPI that you can't win on price. Walmart's already got that sealed. Don't try to play that game. I've seen so many people in retail come in to play and go off of volume and not price. Mine is, I went the other direction. We're going to give the best customer service. We're going to, without exception, we're going to give the best customer service. The customer is always right. We're going to make dang certain that we have a big inventory. Opposite of what my CPA kept telling me, you can't have a Christmas inventory all year long. I won that argument, but we had to prove it wrong. I got to go back. I had a great CPA firm, still with them 50 years now. sold just up the street. So it's, you gotta have relationships, but we had to have the strength to know that when someone walks in and we have the uniqueness that we want to sell them, we're gonna give them good customer service and we're gonna be fair priced. But we're not gonna, that's not gonna be, it's not even in the top 5 of the things that you need to do in retail or in life, period. If you like it, you're going to buy it, housing or whatever it's relating to here. But we did a lot of fun promotions too, because that's engages the customers. I mean, the dog dip days, we brought in an elephant named Lydia. I mean, it was unbelievable giving people rides on elephants, knowing that they could cough and they'd throw them off. But we did goofy things. We did one that's exotic animal paradise, where we did it for about 6 months, to where we gave you spent $1 with us, we gave you $1 called Buckos. And then we took everybody out there to Pat Jones's. We had the biggest barbecue. People like to be fed. Feed them all they can possibly eat. I'll tell you how great it is. And we had great food. And when we had this gigantic auction, you only got to bid with your Buckos. So a microwave back then was huge. You know, anything, TVs or whatever we had in there. And we all had it choreographed because we caught our customers in not the best compromising positions, I should say. And we put them up on a big screen and they started laughing at each other. And we had a great turnout that built the loyalty base for our customer to continue to grow. The biggest one, I'm skipping over a bunch, but another one we did before we moved was at the University Plaza. We took every room, we brought in the best choreographers, the best dancers. We rented the whole building. We invited our customer base and we put on this gigantic style show. Over the top. It was unbelievable. Actually had Kenny Rogers there. It was one of those that we probably sold more that night than we probably sold in the next month or the previous month. It was one of those we just could not say enough about, but each one of those promotions took a long time to prepare. We got a film strip, put our invitation on the film strip, put it in a black canister in a black satin bag with a hang tag on it, and we sent it out to the mail. Can you imagine something like that and something in the mail today? It wouldn't get there, but we did. And people brought in the script and invited to because it was special. We did it the next year and we had to quit because 2 reasons. We ran out of space. Secondly, we couldn't get all of our customers in there that we needed to have. So we moved it on. Now, then we moved over in 1988, we started our catalog division. At that point, I said, I want to make sure that we're going to reach more people in a faster way. That's how my goofy mind kept working. We mailed 60,000 catalogs our first mailing. All of our employees spent all night long licking stamps to put on 60,000. Yeah, and we did. Unfortunately, the next morning when we went to mail them, the humidity was higher next morning, and I could have taken them down there and let them mail them on their machines and would have saved us $2,000 or $3,000 that I thought we were going to have plus our pizza party. But you learn lessons. So that one was a good one. And actually, here was not the first one. This is the next year in '89. And I had carousel down at Branson. It took us probably all night long just to get the cover shot. And this is back in the day that we couldn't justify having professional models, so we used our employees. You know, it was cute and it was fun and it worked. But I'm speeding through this a little fast, but in 8 years, we had the catalog 8 years, and we went from 60,000 to 8 million in 8 years. The last one I went up is you pay the stamps at the printer's office because you don't handle them again, and it's $250,000. That's before printing, anything else back in the time, and then you want to place it around to where there's no national conflict or people's going to be happy. Fun and happy is the key to this thing. The problem at that time, we were growing and we had another competitor that wanted us out of the business. So I was very glad at the time. I was sad at the time because we built a big distribution center over on Bellcrest. But at the time, I thought it needs to go someplace else. We were very happy. It was very workable, but a 3% return was huge. You're mailing 8 million copies, but you get 3% return. You gotta think about that. All the paper that you're wasting, all the trees that you're wasting, all the comments that you put on here, no matter what you had, whether that item sold jillions, don't make any difference. It's not the demand, it's a product, how many you have in your warehouse that you can sell. You may have 10,000 each sold and you only may have 5,000. You can't go back after them. And that always frustrated you. You had to guess. Obviously, placement of the product wherever you're at would show where you're going to sell the most product. And you learn a lot about the catalog business. And so I was fortunate at the time. I didn't want to sell. Actually, I wanted to acquire the other ones. But again, thinking, okay, let's see what we need to be doing next. So we is in 96. We sold it to them. And fortunately, we never ever had a conversation about the web. Now, if I was in 96 in catalog business and the paper business, I would be moving towards that. So I kept that silent. Instantly, we went to the web. We were early, way early, but we had the technology and the group that put us together. So we took with our virtually same customer base and just brought them to the web where we can change it. If you like that blouse, you can sell it, you can replace it, or if you run out of inventory, you put another one on it. It changed the whole dynamics. Now, paper catalogs are few and far because they're very costly. Printing cost, just the production, the time frames. We had to be finished by July 4th for holiday. Printed, picked out, you bought the product a year ahead. You had to guess about the amount of numbers. I won't keep there because I need to keep moving on to this thing. But anyway, at the time we were mailing 8 million, Bass Pro was mailing 10 million. So we had a good little catalog going and it was fun. But we needed to move our people along over. That's when we broke ground over here. We've been very fortunate. In the 47 years that we've been in business at that store, or that the new store included, we never ever had a down year. There's very few companies that could say that. We never had a down year in sales, margins, or terms. That is remarkable because everybody comes in, well, it's a cowboy craze now, it's over, urban cowboys left, what do you have? You know, we kept on moving to different markets. We try to include everybody. At the time, and I probably could still say this today, that most guys in here has a pair of boots. And I would say half the women do. So we reach a whole cross section of people. It just wasn't someone that probably 2% of our business was farm related. I could almost identify that. Then we began moving down the road. My wife had the toughest job because she was in charge of inventory control. Against pushing and tugging all the time because I kept on wanting to do more fun things to make people fun and happy. Her job was we pick a number at the beginning of the year, what our inventory is going to be. We pick a number, what it's going to be after the end of the year, after Christmas. You got to match them. Otherwise, you're just donating dollars. In between that is terms. You got to bring that product in, turn it over jillions of times, and then you got to maintain or exceed your margins. You cannot be in business for 47 years and try to be the lowest guy in the world. You'll go out of business like everybody else did. I can name jillions of them, but I won't go into. Okay, here's one of a little fun fact. A little fun fact. Well, it wasn't, you didn't have it. You should have had that one, the National Enquirer. I made the National Enquirer.
I didn't find that one.
I didn't bring it because it's an archives and boxes someplace. So I made the National Enquirer. We did a promotion with Tanya Tucker for 2 years and was down shooting a Photoshop at her house, and her National Enquirer was there and said they would not do any shooting, any filming. Great, they lied. We had that, it was one of those scenes, if anybody's been at a style show, I probably won't talk about it. Anyway, it was one of those shots that they caught me at the bottom of the stairs and she was at the top of the stairs changing clothes, and here we snap. It was like, holy crap. Yeah. Another little cool thing was back in the old stores, you didn't put this one up. I figured you'd have this one. Jonathan Richman, there's a movie, you girls will never remember this one. Grandparents, ask your grandparents. Jeez, there's a movie called Something About Mary. It's a great movie. This guy, Jonathan Richman, is a rocker. So he came in the store and he was shopping, he got him a pair of boots, a pair of ostrich boots, and he walking around, he says, I'd like for you to be on my cover of my album. It wasn't planned. It wasn't nothing in the world except he said, we went outside, shot this by the boots, and we did a trailer of the old store as him walking out. So every time I went to New York, I bought myself to make sure it kept on selling. Jonathan Richman, Something About Mary. You know when you make it when you're on the cover of the album. So that was a fun one. You have those fun things. Then in 2008, in between all our different promotions, they built the JQH Arena. I think it's 2008. John Kaiser was a president. I wanted to bring the PBR, professional bull riding, to Springfield, Missouri. It only went to big cities. I convinced them that I would stand all the loss if you guys come in. Now, I am never one to lose. So I knew that I was going to be able to get the community support, and which we did, but we brought it in. But first off, I had to convince people, the president, to allow us to bring bulls into this brand new arena, put dirt in this new arena, and make it a rock star event. So I'll never forget this. True story now. Girls, don't get offended. We went to lunch. I remember to Hickory. And we're sitting there, and one guy was with him, had a calendar. Another guy was with him, which I can't tell you the name because you'll figure this out. And I remember at that time, 2 tables over Billy Long, his ear was growing to find out what we were talking about. Yeah. So we're sitting there trying to think, okay, I knew the dates that I had open that PBR would allow me to have this event. And first we had to get past why we're going to be able to put bulls in there. John Kaiser, I never forget this, it was so funny. This other guy, who was another PhD guy, he said, how are you going to keep these bulls from crapping in the arena? We can't have that happen. Instantly, John Kaiser said, hey, did you not realize that they just made a new butt plug for the bulls only? They keep on doing this. I went right behind him, pulled all the way through to this thing. I said, yeah, I mean, I had one in the car, but I should have brought it in with you. And John folded right back. He was the best guy in the world. And this other guy, he didn't know what to say. I said, we're going to keep it from happening. It's going to be clean. You know, the bulls ain't gonna be in there very long. I'll never forget, it's a true story. We let that one down the road. How can you have the president come up with something in his mind to help cover my butt? Then the other guy, it's a true story. Then the other guy sitting there, he was, it's kind of like playing Keno. You give me a number, date for this, I'll look, oh no, you didn't win. So I said, John, why don't you get the calendar and see if you have opening on this date? Well, I think we do. Well, that's our September date. We're going to have it. So we allowed it. Towns, good, bads, in between. Everybody got behind it. The media embraced it, and you can't do stuff without it. I mean, it was just a total success from the get-go. Our first one. Then we did it. We did it for 15 years until COVID, and then we kept growing it. And finally, they wanted to ask me if we could do it a third day. 2 days is tough. 3 is basically unreal because just the planning of it is just unreal. Not getting down to details of it, but we did it. There's only one other place, and that was at the finals in Las Vegas, that had 3-day events. And Springfield, Missouri embraced it, and we had it, and it was very successful. My part into that was making sure the openings were memorable. And everyone we did, our team spent a lot of time And one that you may remember, good or bad, was our governor, Crichton's. We had him come in because I went to Jeff City knowing his personality. I said, we gotta do something big. I need you to rappel out of the ceiling on black iron with no lights. So we set this up. His pre-crew came in. We walked out with the lights on. I would be on my belly scooting out to the center of it, let alone he had to cross over another beam. And then all of a sudden, as we lined up, the intro to him, and then we hit a spotlight on him, and he rappelled down in the dark. Walked out there and did that. That was probably one of the memorable times. I went over, grabbed the bottom of the rappel rope and shook his hand, and it was like a wrench. I mean, his adrenaline was pumping so much because he knew he had hit that spot perfectly. Another one we did was I wanted to put a zip line in it around all the speakers and everything else. And I wanted Josh Hawley's sister, who was just getting out of the Navy, is a doctor, a dermatologist in town, and meet Josh at the bottom. Well, we got it all done, and to realize that the last 2 days or whatever it was, you had to have a special permit for a zip line. They would not mail it to us. So here we have our governor was going to be there the next day. So I called him and I asked him, I said, Mike, can you go by and pick up this permit that this lady will not give to me or send it down and won't let anybody come up and pick it up? So would you like to be that lady in that office when a governor walks over and give me this permit? Yeah, he walked in, he got out of his car, he was shaking, I got the permit in his hand and the vent, and I don't know what happened to the permit. You didn't even need it because the only reason you need it if you have a bad accident. So anyway, that was one of the fun events we had. Another thing that we did is a lot of you, I kept on wanting to build our Boot Daddy brand. Now here comes Larry's Country Diner. TV networks were going away from comedy, clean shows and going to reality shows, cost cheaper. So Larry's Country Diner, we started that. You got a picture of that one?
Getting there.
Okay, there it is. Wow, Larry's Country Diner. And I got to know Larry Black way back when. And it was one of those meetings that I said, you know, there's something there. Now, we only have one store. This is going national. So we made a deal. Then I brought in 2 other sponsors. And we said, okay, only way I want to do this is if I can be incorporated in the cast. Instantly, that audience is watching Larry's Country Diner, which would be your grandparents. They loved every bit of it. It was clean. It was comedy. We had a performing star on every episode. Great people. Oak Ridge, Alabama. Who's it? McLean, American Pie. Just unique people that we had in 12 years of doing the TV show. Now, the deal is the TV show is filmed in Nashville or Columbia, Tennessee. Well, I'm here. So we flew back and forth. I had a King Air for 18 years and then I sold it, and then you still make a lot of trips. And then I realized why that 7-8 hour drive in each direction that you needed to get there. But we did it for 12 complete seasons. We thought this show might go for 2 or 3 seasons. It kept on getting popularity. 2 million people, they loved you. You became into their household. You were part of them. They came by, they brought me gifts. They brought me, I mean, you know, train sets, wood carvings. I couldn't believe how they embraced us. Now, at the same time, me and another guy, we owned the Starlight Theater in Branson for 12 years, or we still own it. But during that time, I would bring Larry's Country Diner set come down. So all these people would come in, and I always had them, the date set around when we had our tent sales. So therefore, we barbecued 10,000 hamburgers that we gave away. We put up a 20,000 square foot tent, put product in it. Now, Larry's Country Diner fans loved it to death. And of course, if they couldn't find us, they would go to the web. We created certain things happen at Larry's Country Diner that we never could make that happen again. How we doing on time?
We're getting pretty close.
Okay, I'll move to the backside pretty quick. One of the things that we did do, The Texas Tenors, another group, was on America's Got Talent. Unique Consequences, the guy, oh my goodness, I lost his name. Has a crazy TV show, he just recently died. He was a mayor of Cincinnati. Help me out. Jerry Springer. So I had the plan to go on a plane. I went from here to Las Vegas to buy out the Texas Tenors to come put them in our theater in Branson. And I had to meet with Jerry Springer. Now imagine what kind of going through your mind. How are you gonna get this guy corralled? He was the best professional guy that you could pick. In between, he had to make his little stick. He goes out in the road. He does his deal. We come back. But the point being, he was a good guy. We got the Texas Tenors come in. If you ever want to hear a good song, the Texas Tenors did a Boot Daddy song. It hit number 34 of the country charts. I never thought it would make that much. Once again, it springed us to the top. I'm going to the end. 3 things I had on my wall that I will never change out. Act instead of react. Act instead of react. If you could do that, especially at a younger age, not be influenced by what else is happening around, that is so critical. Act instead of react. Every day I stared at that thing to make sure that I was going in the direction that I wanted to go, not be influenced by what anybody else is trying to get me to go or what everybody's doing. They can go off the cliff, but I'm not. Mentally strong, act instead of react. Respect, desire, and determination. And I'm not kidding. Thanks for having me.
I've heard you say over and over, it wasn't about price, it's about providing an experience and a value to your people.
Fun and happy.
Yeah.
Make it fun and happy. Get involved. They never ever see the backside of all the work that goes into it. You just want them to experience a fun environment, not think about anything else that's going on in the world. Create your own fun. There you go. You have the berry farm up.
That's right. Where'd it go? So this is his newest project. But questions, what do you have
Yeah.
for?
What was your daily routine? Like for realtors, we have our 80%, we have our 20%. Our 20% is to lead generate, lead follow up, go on appointments, negotiate contracts, inscription role play. The 80% is contract to close, advertising, whatever it is. What was your 20% that you did daily that drove your business? 20% activities.
Well, one of the things I didn't say in here because you asked me about a negative. I was born with it and not going to change. I'm going to retire when I die. I'm never satisfied. And I always constantly, no matter how great a job we did at anything we did, I want to make sure we anniversary better. So my mind was cranking all the time. Mine, to your answer though, is that my main focus was bringing my designers, the marketing team, and my employees at the store, the head of the stores, to make certain that they were in lockstep with me on every day. And we will have maybe 5 minutes. This is what we're looking for. Now in retail, you had to design something a year ahead before it hits the floor. So you're already buying. One of the things that we'll talk about 2 seconds is our hoodies. We did hoodies. Cavender's did a promotion, same time frame as what we did, and I didn't know if they were doing it. They did it in Fort Worth at their big store and they sold 8,000 hoodies. They were so proud of that. We did 250,000 hoodies out of this store, branding PFI. 250,000 hoodies that customers bought promoting ourselves. Now, at the time you walk around, you see hoodies everywhere in the world. They went into whatever state, wherever you could see our hoodies. I was a male doing a physical, and there's a girl in the parking lot. I said, "Oh God, I can't go stop her because she won't know who I am." You know. But it's so fun to see people. That was a fun promotion. When you get the customer buying in and promoting your events, and you've seen hoodies, now they're dying off. Now they call me and ask me how to get their sales back because they lost a bunch. I did simple, get the customers back involved. Don't make it an ordinary store. And then now they just did. But, you know, got a shout out to Janelle back there. She's the general manager of KTTS. And I used Radio Unreal and over the years and radio and TV. And obviously I was hands-on. And I'm gonna be hands-on until the day that I die, just like you guys are in yours. You gotta make your stuff happen, and make it fun, and you gotta make the experience likable.
I love, because what you said goes back to the question earlier about people doing things for X%. It's not about the price, it's about what experience you're doing for them.
Especially in your business. If you don't give a good experience, you gotta get someone else to talk about down the road. Well, I use so-and-so. Carl Wilcox was mine. I bought a house here when we moved in here in Oak Knoll. We were the second house in Oak Knoll. And he drove my wife and me around everywhere looking at different places. So when I wanted to sell that house, first person I'm gonna call is Carl. Now, you're gonna help me get to the next stage. And he did. I remember him and we became good friends. But it's because he did his job first and did an excellent job. It really wasn't about the money. But at that time, it was
about the experience.
About the experience. Unfortunately, back then, when you bought a $50,000 house, it made the newspaper on Sundays. My parents, at first year's marriage, what are you doing? How could you do this?
How can you spend that much
Well,
money?
you need to come back to the farm. What are you doing? Yeah. So, you know, I could go on, but I know you're out of time.
Well, thank you very much. Let's give Randy a round of applause. Already, I don't know if I have my screen. 2 reminders. Next week, team meetings on Wednesday. We really want you all to come to Bold. And tell you what, if you go to Bold Tuesday and you don't get anything out of it, I will pay you back what you spent on it. But seriously, it is a valuable thing. You gotta get to where you're doing something great for your people. Fill these out, get them to us. There's scholarship available. And then next week's Wednesday team meeting will be at 11:30. So for the next several weeks, 11:30 Wednesday team meetings, they're gonna be shortened because of the different day. Anything else?
Just a couple reminders for the forms. All of them are in DocuSign. However, in DocuSign, we have the folders that we've already created, like buyer's docs, listing docs. Not all the forms are in there yet. So if you need to find it, search the MAR forms and you'll be able to find all the updated ones. Nicole said she's working through on getting them submitted. If you see any errors, we have a couple of the documents that we see are not populating correctly. Please let Nicole know. She's in conversation with DocuSign so they can get them populated, the fills correct. I also know in Dotloop and DocuSign on one portion of the contract, there's a yellow box that keeps appearing and we don't know why. So we're working through that. So if you see anything else, please let us know. And my biggest thing is like, congratulations. I mean, it's July 30th and y'all are still alive. The change didn't like kill y'all. So that's great, right? But the biggest thing through this is our words and how we perceive this and how we communicate this with the general public matter. So I've seen some people go out there and saying like, this is a terrible day. It's the end of the world, you know, it's a stressful day. If it's stressful, come talk to us. This change should not be stressful. It's just a new learning process, right? And change is always different. I know y'all don't like change. We saw it when we changed from, you know, Dotloop to DocuSign and all command and all that stuff. So I totally get it. Yet we're here and we're happy to help you through it. We just need to know what you're struggling with and how we can help you. But really how you're communicating this with your clients will mean so much, and how you're conveying with the change and how you're communicating with the general public. It's super important because the more fear or the more anxiousness you create around it, it's only going to make everybody else feel more anxious. If you're more empowered and you're saying it's great, I'm figuring it out, we're good, that'll make everybody feel better at the end of the day. So remember, your words do matter.
Randy hit it perfectly. Act, don't react.
Yes.
Know what you're doing and just be comfortable and confident in it. That's it, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Turn these into it as soon as you can.